Welcome back to SIKIKA SASA live from Lodwar Town, Turkana County. We're talking to the people who are talking to their leaders, and they're discussing issues, problems, and challenges affecting their county. One I call filled with contrasts and contradictions. Poverty, drought, you name it, and then oil and water at the same time. Whoever said oil and water do not mix clearly had not come to Turkana County. Your tweets are coming in. The handle is @KTN Kenya, @UNDP Kenya, @Koinange Jeff, the hashtag SIKIKA SASA. Let me read one from Clinton Mongare. You say, what a show. Indeed. That's why the people of Turkana are loving it. Frederick Okango says, I'm liking the discussions at SIKIKA SASA in Turkana. The governor promising street lights in 2 weeks' time. Governor, they have heard you out there, Governor. I'm telling you, pressure's on. All right, before the break, there was a couple of questions from Carol over there from Mount Kenya University. The first one directed at you, Jackson Nakusa, about Talo and the breakdown in the monies. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jeff. I would like to appreciate that question. And my answer is that I cannot give you the actual amount of money we've given to the county government, but I can tell you that we have paid every single coin that Talo is supposed to pay the county government. So we have paid all our dues, and all the money is with the county. I can't really give you the breakdown now. Thank you.
Carol, are you satisfied with that answer? I'm not.
Can I clarify?
Outside.
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't you. That's right, it was a gentleman outside.
Yeah.
My bad. Governor.
Thank you, Jeff. I hope you'll give me time also to respond on the road. I think it seems to have been forgotten. But essentially, before I get onto the road, let me respond to the issue of Talo. I want people to realize here, Talo does not give us free money. It doesn't give the county government of Turkana free money. It pays levies which every person within Turkana is supposed by law to pay. That is the money we collect as revenue. The same way KRA collects revenue all over the country, including in this county. All this money is collected together, and it is what is spent cumulatively together with the amount of money we receive from the share, the common basket for the whole country. And then it is what funds the budget of priorities, which we have agreed as the people of Turkana and which has been approved by the county assembly. I wanted to clarify that issue. Going back to the road, presently, classified roads in Turkana are 12,000 kilometers. 4,000 are roads that are classified as Class 1, Class A to C. Class A are national trunk roads, which national government implements together with international partners. A lot of funding is normally agreed with international partners to fund these roads. The road between here and Kitale is a Class A road, ever since that road was ever created. The road leads from here all the way to the border with South Sudan. So far, national government has done the design, and they have been having discussion to fund it. The question we should have been asking, why is it taking too long for the institution that is mandated to do this? Essentially, the funds could be much 3, 4, 8 times the amount of money we spend every year. So essentially, it's something that we cannot be able to fund. Second, we expected through this new constitution to have had a Loans and Grants Council enacted that gives a framework of how counties can be able to borrow money and how counties can be able to get grants and for what projects. That is not yet into law. So we are having difficulties on getting guarantees from the National Treasury. So essentially, that's an issue we can only lobby our colleagues. And of course, we will want to use the fact that the pipeline is about to be built, the oil is supposed to be moving to the markets sometimes in 2018, but we will want to ask national government, priority number 1, build the road.
What about devolution, Governor? With your devolution funds, don't you get any money to build roads?
As I said, our share from the national resources is 9.2 billion shillings. This money is shared out into all the critical sectors. And I can tell you from Turkana, we are dealing with the basics which the country was dealing with in 1963. Essentially, every other sector seems to be a key priority. The amount of money we have allocated for roads is 1.4 billion shillings. That is significant enough for the rural roads that are also so critical to open up our rural areas where most of our people are living in.
Governor, you said 9 billion, right? Is it true, we read in the news that your government, your county government, returned 3 billion shillings back to the national government? Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, Jeff, let me tell you, there was no money returned to the national government. I want to attest to that. What we've had in this country is a financial structure at the end of financial year, which is a structural problem. I have worked as an assistant minister for national government, so I know how national government operates. I am now the governor of a county. The same problems we've had from moving from one financial year to the next is what is experiencing all government entities. Essentially, in July, we had earmarked to pay off many of the contractors whose work was due for a second payment. But we couldn't. Other issues like the IFMIS, the financial connectivity, broke down. The last bunch of that money, you talk of 3 billion, 2 billion of that money came on the second week of June. And at the end of that week, we could not be able to transact because money had to be wired through the financial IFMIS system. So critically what happened is the money moved from our expenditure account back to Turkana County Government Central Bank account. We agreed with the County Assembly, we agreed with the Control of Budget to budget for that money that was a surplus of that year, given that there were still programs that were continuing and whose money had not been paid off. And that's the reason why our budget should have been 9.5 billion shillings. That's why we shifted it to 12.5 billion shillings, to take the fact that there are some monies that we had not spent on projects that are ongoing. So essentially our approved budget, which we are implementing, 12.5 billion shillings. So essentially I'm telling my people that no money has returned and we will implement as per what we undertook to implement and as per the budget that has been approved.
Okay, let's continue on with the questions, please. Go.
Thank you very much. I have two questions. First of all, I'm called James Ikiru Natele. I work with Teacher Service Commission. I'm a TAC tutor in Lake Zone. So I have two questions to His Excellency, the Governor of Turkana. First, I want to appreciate him for what he has done to our county. I want to appreciate when he was a member of Parliament. He changed the education sector by providing all secondary schools with buses, which are now being used by students to travel and go for tours. So I appreciated that, and he had this roadmap. He had 13 points. So my question is, now you have constructed 60 ECD classrooms, which are going to be commissioned very soon. And those ECD classrooms are, I can say they are excellent because they are even better than some of the secondary schools classes. Our learners, our children will go to those excellent classrooms under ECD, early childhood education. What happens when they transit to standard 1, that is primary education? There's a great challenge in that area. And that question, as we've been moving around the county, moving to our schools, it's a great challenge that we are seeing our children moving from an excellent classroom, then going to learn in standard 1 under trees. It is possible. And that is a challenge to the county government and even to the national government.
Okay.
Question 2.
No, it was for the governor, right?
Yes.
You don't need to ask him 2 questions, okay? No. Governor, transition.
Thank you, Jeff. I think, as I have said before, and I want to repeat it once again, education remains a flagship for this county. If you look at the structure, the way it is, less than 40%, I think 45% of the school-going children are going to school. So we have a very big responsibility. What we've done as a county government is to try and invest at the very early stage of entry, knowing very well that if we invest here, at least we will get so many kids onto a school system. But equally, as the questioner has asked, it's our concern, not only for me and not only for the professionals in this county, but for all the other governors of the other 46 counties. We are building 60 ECD centers. We are finishing them now. We are going to equip them. Luckily, before Nat went to court, we had recruited 150 ECD teachers. It is now a matter of court. We have intentions in our budget because we believe that we've been given the full mandate to manage the ECD centers, including recruiting teachers. But that's an issue for the court to decide. Okay. This year, we have 300 on our budget, 300 teachers. But what worries counties, particularly my county and all the other counties, is if the parents will bring their kids in schools, in the ECD centers, what happens to the transition to primary school and to secondary school? Essentially, the experience here has indicated it is the church organizations that have built all or most of the schools in Turkana. It is CDF funds over the last 2 terms that have built schools infrastructure. Our debate as a governor through the Council of Governors has been, can national government build the school infrastructure? If they don't have the capacity to do so, can they portion out school infrastructure and ask the county to implement it on their behalf? Because there seems not to be moving forward.
Okay, let's move on and get your questions ready. Jackson, let me ask you this question. Is it true that Tullow mostly imports labor into your oil fields, your exploration? You're not hiring locals for the most part. Is that true?
It's not true. What?
The people here think it's true. Do you think it's true?
Yes. That is why I want to give the answer. First, oil is very technical. That is for a fact. It is not like any other job you can walk in today.
I'm not talking the technical part. I'm talking KYM, Kazi Yamkono.
I was giving...
You're not hiring locals as that. Is that true or not?
For casual work, we give 100%.
Locals?
Yes. That one is a fact, and we can prove it.
Is that true?
That is semi-skilled and unskilled job is 100% for the local community. Professional jobs, we give 75%, and of course other Kenyans are looking at the same way. This oil is not personal, it is for all of us. Tullow is giving 75% to the local community and 35% to the rest of the country. Actually, 70-30, that is where we are.
Jackson, it's not very convincing, but anyway, it's up to you guys. Ask the questions. Ask the questions. Here in the front. Okay, go.
Okay, Samuel Lokwayene Bay.
Please speak up.
Samuel Lokwayene Bay. Electrician in nature. I have 2 questions, actually. One for Naksa and another one for Governor. For Naksa, I would like to ask something about oil. Are you aware that oil is dividing Turkanas into 3 sections? And if you're aware, how many sections of Turkana have developed since the constitution that we promulgated the 2010 constitutions? For the governor, when I see you in that raiment, I feel like crying because I'm ashamed. I was one of the people who supported you in Nairobi when you claimed yourself Abuangmwe. Yeah. I was in Kapeta some months ago. Toposa came just and raided some homes around, and they went away with everything. In fact, I felt bitter because one of the County, is it a ward vehicle?
Yeah. Get to your point.
They got stuck and they could do nothing. They could not even follow. What are you doing about the insecurity of the whole Turkana, including the now diminishing Turkana South? You call the greater when you are an MP.
Good. Madam.
Thank you very much. Now, after this event, after this talk show, we are all going to eat. And my reason for bringing in this issue of food is the other issue, the food insecurity in this county. Your Excellency, of all your speeches, the message that I've retained the most is that your dream is to have Turkana County produce enough food to feed not only Turkana, but the greater Turkana County, the greater Kenyan nation. Now, my question is, before independence, we had groups, organizations that tried to solve this issue. After independence, the governments that were there before, your government is here. What progress have we made so far? Because this is the source of these negative images in the media. And my other question is to Mr. Nakusa. It's about Talo. When you are traveling down to Kitale, you meet farmers' choice lorries bringing meat to Turkana. And Turkana has plenty of livestock. There's Lomidat slaughterhouse. Can't we provide you people with food? Thank you.
Ika, let me ask you to talk about food insecurity, if you will.
I must recognize the CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plan. That it really focuses that that Turkana must be food secure. I think we've always had many people, many institutions, even national government having this ad hoc engagement into food insecurity. We looked at the Kenyans for Kenyans initiative that was done up north. They celebrated it. If you looked at all the people who came in and they said, oh, we are changing pastoralists into farmers. But if you go there right now, it was an ad hoc project but done by the Red Cross that right now the community is actually using the same tomatoes just for lunch because they have no access to markets. So I think there has to be a big engagement. I've noticed it in the CIDP, but there has to be a big engagement in terms of national government not coming in and doing short, quick fixes of irrigation that in any way do not solve the problem. I think, as she said it's been going, it's a perennial problem that has to look at the ecosystem, how to rangelands management, access to markets, infrastructure, supporting technology that allows, this country, we import honey, yet this county can produce enough honey that can be exported. So we need to look at how best we can do this, not just to feed, but to be able to get money to meet the other needs. So I think it's a bigger project.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, I was involved in the Kenyans for Kenya project, and we raised, what, 1 billion shillings? Something like that, right? 1 billion shillings. And in Nairobi and other parts of the country, people get fatigued that every other year people hear us starving, and we keep saying, what's going on? You know?
Yeah, I think, and we recognize it. We are also tired of seeing the pictures. I'm very sure our brothers and sisters in this room are fed up with seeing the pictures always showing Turkanas being, and the media, they basically live for those pictures. And so for us, I think we need to look at it in the bigger sense, how to do this in a way that is sustainable for the environment, but also for the local communities to be able to do it on their own, not for somebody to come from Nairobi, do a project, and get on a plane back to Nairobi.
Absolutely. Good point, yeah. Jackson Nakusa, oil dividing Turkana into 3.
Yeah, there are 2 questions. The first one is oil dividing Turkana, and the second one is meat coming from Kitale to Lokichar. Oil dividing Turkana, I'll give it this approach. First, Talo deals with what we call footprints. How much impact do you create in a given zone? How much effect are the people around there feeling? So that is the mentality that the business had. But when it came around here, this community lives in a sharing situation. They share everything they have. And so Talo had to go to that mentality. As it is right now, Talo is paying school fees for everyone, including the area where there's another oil partner. And this is business. There's an oil partner in Turkana West, but Talo is still doing school fees for that area. That tells you what? Talo is not dividing. We know we have internal issues. The internal issues about Like if you look around casual work is people around that village. But you see, everybody wants to have that job. And because one morning you wake up and you want 20 fellows and you get them there, the rest of the guys who come at 11 o'clock would not get because they came from far and they think they were locked out. That is not the idea. The idea right now is Talo is trying to extend the wings to all this county because we need to make sure that we give equal chances to everyone. So dividing would be an idea from some source because we know there was a time the drivers were claiming some are being sent away, but there was a DDT training that Talo opened for everyone, and now all the drivers around the county are given focus. Sometimes the problem would be the number of vehicles we need, the number of drivers supersedes, so the number of drivers shoot up beyond the vehicles we require. Otherwise, Talo would want, and it's actually up to the situation where they would want to serve this county on equal footing.
Okay, Governor, before you answer the question.
There was meat. There is meat.
Oh, the meat, yeah.
The meat. I am not sure if there's meat that comes from Italy anymore. What happens, there are local women groups that are supplied, because you have about three or two groups that are cooking, and they take their meat from Lokichar this time, so there's no meat from Kitale anymore. Thank you.
All right, Governor, before you answer the question about the gentleman being disappointed in you, Moses Ole Lemukol has sent a tweet saying, Turkana problems start with an all-eating elite that is blind to the plight of the masses. That's the feeling out there. Governor.
Yeah, Jeff, it's interesting to hear that from our Minister of Interior, whose mandate is actually security. Pardon?
Go on, yeah, answer insecurity, go ahead.
Moses Lemukol. So essentially, that may not be the case. The problems of security here are as old as many of us in this room know. They were there before us. They were there when I was a member of parliament. They are there now, even now, when we have a different regime in Kenya and a governor with a county government. Essentially, this problem, it is for national government, Minister of Interior. However, we are the ones who are affected down here, including my government, the county government. And most of the time, the residents of this county are asking us, what can you do? You see, but there are certain limits of how much we can do when the policing element is still under the control of national government. But we have not let it that way. We have provided, with the funds that have been approved in our budgets, certain support. Number one, support that we immediately put in because of the inaccessibility of various areas of this county. We bought vehicles which our field administrators are using not only for themselves, but also for security, for medical, and all other essentials. And in fact, the Kenya Police Service has been able to move their forces together with the local Kenya Police reservists using these vehicles. Second, we've also provided provisions in our budget to support the Kenya Police reservists through the Kenya Police Force.
So do you think you're winning the war against the bandits, Governor?
Pardon?
Are you winning the war against the bandits?
I hope we will, because on top of this, one area that we are investing, and we've been investing heavily, is on the peace building. We've managed to stabilize. Let me tell you, we've managed to stabilize our international boundaries. The Ugandan border and the Ugandan communities, that situation has stabilized to normal. The South Sudan one, where I visited a few weeks ago to meet my colleagues on the other side, that situation is also coming to where we think it should be moving into.
All right, Governor. The rock scientist, there's a Twitter handle. He says, seems people in Turkana seem to believe Talo is the answer to all their problems, not the governor. And there's this SMS here. It says, it is observed that power is generated in Turkana County. Very little of it gets to be enjoyed by the people here in Turkana, Lord Watan and the other towns. Why is that? That is an SMS. Before you answer that, there's another question from the outside. Let's go outside. Tell us your name and give us your question, please. You can direct your questions to the screen over there. Go ahead.
Asante sana, mimi naenda kuongea kwa Kiswahili. Nashukuru wasomi pia. So, swali langu kwanza kabla niseme, nimesema majina yangu ni Elia na Telenga na Bun. Na swali langu iko kwa panelist watatu hawa. Wa kwanza ni governor, wa pili ni Talo chairman or somebody here, watatu ni ule mama wa Neema. So swali langu kwa governor, tulipewa serikali ya county ambayo ni serikali ya kodi kwa hapa, lakini utashangaa ya kwamba ministers wake wote hatuoni kazi, wao ni utajiri tu. Sasa wameingilia, ukiingia kuangalia sahi maminister wake wote, tukianza na minister ya education, juzi tulionyesha kwa TV maaskari na ma-KPR ndio wamekuwa walimu, na minister wake wote wako hapa town, tunakaa na wao na tunashinda na wao. Tukienda mwingine ambaye ni wa water, Ministry of Water, malori zote zimegroundiwa hapa. Ukienda huko reserve hakuna maji, tumekuwa hata Lokichari tumeshikwa na typhoid kwa sababu ya maji na anatoka huko. Tukienda mwingine wa energy, tuko na minister energy hapa na ni mtu wa code na alikuwa anasimama women rep, na tunataka tuseme ukweli wa mambo, kazi ya kupita kwa mgongo ni mbaya sana. Yeye stima inaguruma hapa, generator imeumiza hata watoto wetu hapa. Sasa ukienda kana Mkemeri, generator imeua watu, na ukiuliza governor anasema hiyo ni mambo ya federal government. Tutaongoja federal government mpaka lini hata generator? Sasa hii tunashukuru Jeff Koinange kwa kukuja na generator yake, kwa sababu hapa ilikuwa blackout.
Generator yake.
Swali nyingine.
Harakisha ndugu yangu, harakisha.
Harakisha Jeff Koinange na usiondoke, nataka nikuone live. Swali nyingine Jeff, kwa hawa panelist hawa, kuna mama hapo wa Neema. Saa hii choo ya Turkana imekuwa bei kali mpaka inapelekwa mpaka Kitale. Malori imeshindwa, imeharibikia kwa barabara, na yeye anasema yeye anashirikiana na Neema kufanya usafi. Hii hawezi hata kutuambia program tu chimbe choo mahali tumwage hapo, kwa sababu sasa ukienda hapo Jeff hata hakuna mahali utajisaidia, macho imejaa. Hakuna mahali utajisaidia naye. Alafu
swali ya mwisho.
Bado swali moja nyingine. Kuna swali kwa huyu mtu ya Talo. Yeye amesema 75% ameandikia wa Turkana. Na ukiangalia advertisement ya Talo yote inawekwa kwa internet. Wewe ukienda Logriama hakuna hata network. Wewe utapata mambo yako.
Haya, asante ndugu, tumekusikia. Asante. All right. Oh yeah, Turkana's burning now. Hold on. Let's get some answers, but we have exactly 5 minutes to go before this show ends. And I'll ask you all, starting with you, Ikal, answer the question about sanitation, and then give us some closing remarks. Same thing with you, Jackson, and Governor will end with you. Ikal.
I think one thing, I don't work for NEMA. I actually criticize a lot of the work that NEMA does. But it is true that we have a sanitation problem. Most of the toilet facilities are latrines that always have to be emptied by one of the trucks and then depositing. We have a problem about, again, where to deposit it. Most of it then has to be taken by truck. So it is a bigger problem that has to be looked at, and I believe it is in the urbanization plan. That looks at how best to do, you can see the drainage system, sanitation system, and that's what you're looking at. But I have to mention something with Talo. They show a very good graph in terms of employment, but we need to really start to criticize and look at how, because by law, by best practice, they need to indicate how they move people from unskilled labor to semi-skilled labor in a duration of time, from semi-skilled labor to skilled labor, because you can always say that, oh yeah, 87% illiteracy level, they're not able to meet the criteria. But we really need to they need to show us what is the percentage that they move from unskilled to semi-skilled locally by giving them skills, and then from semi-skilled to skilled labor. So generally there's a lot that needs to be discussed, and I think more forums like this that allow for the citizens to ask the questions to both the professionals, maybe next time have a county assembly representative here to be able to see how the county assembly is actually impacting on their three roles of legislation, representation, and oversight. Absolutely. Thank you, Ikal. Jackson Nakusa.
Thank you, Jeff. First, to answer the question about employment, Talo has covered so much ground. Talo has put 3 offices, one in Lokori, one in Lokichar, one in Lodwar. There's another idea about an office in Lokichar. The intention of that office is to give out as much information as possible to the public and to reach out for those opportunities, employment opportunities. Talo uses all the local radios here. Talo uses all the local newspapers. There are very many in town now. And what I can request to people is take time and Job seeking is a whole school. You need to put your energy into it. You have to look for a job, and you have to look for where the job can be placed. Internet is one area, newspapers, and we even allow people to carry those adverts physically to those other areas. So Talo is a partner that needs your support, and Talo is trying as much as it can to really reach out to everyone for these opportunities. For me, my idea is that Talo is a partner forever. I know for a long time to this community, and want to appreciate your support as leaders, as a community. We still seek as much for this process to move on. Thank you.
Okay, Jackson. Governor, you get the last word before we take a break. Go ahead, Governor.
Thank you. Three things, Jeff. One is I can't agree more with what has been raised by Ekalangele, that essentially all what Talo is doing now is what the leadership in this county has really negotiated hard for and will continue negotiating, particularly on the issue of scholarships. The last scholarships, about 20-something. It's just a disappointment that I've only come to learn that there's only one Turkana girl that have benefited out of those scholarships. So you may need the representatives who are here to go and relook that problem. Second issue that was raised was about power. Jeff, I want to agree with the questioner. 0.002% has been our share of the national grid electricity, despite the fact that we have a 105 megawatt power station, the Takwel Gorge power station, right at our border with West Pokot. But there's a process where the Ministry of Energy, National Ministry of Energy, has begun a program to extend that power up to Lokichar and the outlying towns that are before Lokichar. And they are spending about 1.5 billion shillings, and they are now in the second phase of that
Wind up,
provision.
Governor. Wind up.
Then finally, it's about my officers eating from the government they're working for. Let me tell you, the county government is a public office. We've had oversight of our books, of our activities by the county assembly. We've had several visits from the audit controller and auditor general. We've had a number of visits also from the anti-corruption unit. And I will ask anyone here who has tangible evidence, present that evidence to offices, to the county assembly, to the oversight bodies. And if there will be a problem, we will correct it once it's identified.
Okay, and you've heard from the governor himself, folks. Challenge him. Do it. It's up to you. If you don't do it, then it's up to you. It's your problems. These are your issues. And let's keep discussing. Right now, we're going to break for the news. We're going to break for the news. We haven't finished the show yet. We're going to break for the news, come back, discuss some more, because Turkana has lots of issues, but we are trying to get some answers. So we're going to break to the news. Keep tweeting at KTN Kenya, at UNDP Kenya, at Koinanga Jeff, the hashtag SIKIKA SASA. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with plenty more in a moment.